Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a really fantastic book by James Elkins called How to Use Your Eyes. And this isn't just about, looking at things. This is an explainer that's really designed to completely change how you see the world and to show you all the incredible stuff that's hiding in plain sight. Okay, so let's start with a problem that, let's be real, it probably affects every single one of us. In this crazy modern rush, we look at thousands of things every day, but we've kind of forgotten the simple, patient act of truly seeing. Elkins puts this in really stark terms. Our time is limited. That means our chances to really see and perceive the world are limited too. Every moment we spend just glancing at something instead of really, truly observing it, well, that's a moment of richness that's just gone forever. So I'm asking you, straight up, when was the last time you just stopped and looked? I don't mean looking to identify something or to use it for a task, but just to see it, to understand what it is. The good news is, this is a skill, and it's one we can totally relearn. All right, our first lesson in this new way of seeing comes from a pretty unexpected place, the surface of a very old painting. And we're going to ignore the beautiful people and the epic landscapes. Instead, we're going to focus on the secret language that's written in its flaws. It's actually a pretty simple process. You go to any museum, find an oil painting from, say, before the 1900s, and then you force yourself to forget about the picture itself. Instead, you just zoom in on that fine web of cracks. It's called craquelure. That network, it's like a secret history of the painting's entire life. And here's where it gets interesting. These cracks aren't just random damage. You can actually learn to read them. You've got brittle cracks, which come from the outside world. The canvas getting bumped or the wood panel bending. But then you have drying cracks. Those come from the inside, from the paint itself shrinking over hundreds of years. They look totally different, more like mud drying in the sun. And this secret language, it even has regional accents. For real, 14th century Italian painters, they used a thick base that created these big, random, chunky cracks. But the Flemish masters, they painted on oak, so their cracks actually follow the grain of the wood. And the Dutch, they used a thin base, so their cracks trace the weave of the actual canvas. It's amazing. With a little bit of practice, you could start to guess where a painting comes from just by reading its surface. So once you learn to see these patterns in art, you can't unsee them. You start seeing them absolutely everywhere. It's like you've unlocked this new superpower, and suddenly the whole world is just packed with meaning, with all these hidden texts just waiting for you to read them. You know that same web of cracks from that old painting? Well, you can probably see its cousin on the sidewalk outside your house. In pavement, it's called alligator cracking. It's a sign of stress, of fatigue. And just like that, the ordinary busted-up road has a story of its own. This idea of reading surfaces applies to ancient codes too. Let's take Linear B, a script from ancient Greece. For centuries, these marks on clay tablets were just meaningless squiggles. But once archaeologists figured out how to read them, they unlocked this chillingly bureaucratic view of ancient history. This tablet right here, it's not a grand myth or some epic poem. It's a spreadsheet, a census of slaves. It lists human beings, women and children taken from their home, and it reduces their entire lives to a number and a ration of wheat. An entire human tragedy just hiding in plain sight on a piece of clay for 3,000 years. Now, seeing what's hidden isn't just about the past. It's actually critical for getting by in our digital world. So let's test your eyes on something a little more modern. Take a look at this landscape. It looks beautiful, right? Idyllic, even. But is it a real photograph? Or is it totally fake? Take a really close look. So it's a fake. And here's how you can start to tell. Computer-generated images, they often have these tiny little flaws. The water's ripples, they're just a bit too perfect, all marching in the same direction. The shoreline is a dead giveaway. It's too clean. And if you look at the rocks and grass, the textures often repeat in this subtle, unnatural way. Once you know what to look for, the whole illusion just starts to fall apart. Okay, so we've learned to see the hidden details in things in the world, right? In paintings, in pavement. Now,
let's level up. Let's try to see the very architecture of the world itself, these vast, invisible forces that are shaping our reality all the time.
A totally clear sunset isn't just a random splash of pretty colors. It's actually a predictable 4-act play. It starts with yellows, then moves into those intense oranges and reds we all know. But the real show, the really amazing stuff, it happens after the sun is gone. That's when two incredible things appear that most of us have never even heard of: the Earth's shadow and the purple light. Just stop and think about that for a second. As the sun sets in the west, if you just turn around and look east, you can actually see the rising shadow of our entire planet being cast up onto the sky. It's this massive dark blue band climbing up from the horizon. It's there every single clear day, and it's this absolutely sublime spectacle that we almost always miss.
So we've gone from the cracks in a painting to the shadow of the entire planet. And for our next stop, our journey turns inward, from the unimaginably huge to the impossibly small and impossibly close. You know those little blurry squiggles or dots that you sometimes see drifting across your vision? Well, they're not dust on your eye. They are inside your eyeball. What you're seeing are the shadows of your own red blood cells floating around in there, cast onto your retina. You are literally seeing the machinery of your own body at work. Okay, we've seen the invisible in paintings, in pavement, in the sky, and even inside ourselves. So for our final journey, we're going to ask maybe the weirdest question of all. What happens when we try to look at absolutely nothing? I mean, really think about it. If you go into a perfectly pitch black room or just cup your hands tightly over your eyes, can you get to a state of pure, empty blackness? Is seeing nothing something we can actually experience? The answer, incredibly, is no. You can't. Even in total darkness, your visual system just refuses to quit. It starts to generate its own light, these faint, sparkling flashes called dark noise. And think about what that means. Your brain would rather invent an entire universe of light than actually perceive a void. We are always seeing something, even when there's nothing there. So if our own vision is that creative, what about other kinds of vision out there? This little creature is called a chitin. It's a sea mollusk. And that shell, it's not just armor. It is covered in eyes. And I don't mean 2 or 10 or even 100. We're talking up to 11,500 of them. Each one is a tiny, primitive lens made of the exact same mineral as the shell itself. Can you even imagine what it would be like to experience the world through thousands of points of light all at once? It just completely shatters our human-centered idea of what it even means to see. And that brings us to our final thought. The world isn't just some passive object that we look at. It is teeming with consciousness, with millions upon millions of eyes, and countless ways of perceiving reality. We spend all our time looking out at the world. But maybe we should stop for a second and consider, how does the world, in all its strange and visual glory, look back at us?